Yo, that is right, real quick. The GOAT,
Yeah,
man. Nas
you
back in
know he's gonna
business
play
with
that. You
EMD.
know he's gonna play that.
You know I gotta play that out the gate, man. You know I can't get into it as much as I want to because of copyright stuff, so I don't want to get into
Right.
those
I
things.
feel
But
you.
yo, out the gate, he said back in business, baby. Yo, Marc and Shawn, we are back in business.
No
Yo,
doubt.
what to do, my dude? How you doing out there?
Man, I'm chilling. Nephew single dropped about a week ago. Yeah, I mean he got the SoundCloud popping. It's called It's a Party. Yeah, I mean you see I got the M3 shirt on repping for my nephew. Yeah, I'm saying hit him up on the Instagram. It's official M3. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, you know, he making some moves with that joint, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah, salute to your nephew, man. What's his name?
It's official M3. You know what I mean? You find him on the
M3.
gram, you know what I'm saying? And then go ahead and check that out. And then check him out on SoundCloud under the same name, man, so you can peep his
Word,
work, see what he did.
word. Yo, shout out to your nephew, man. Keep grinding, keep doing your thing, and hey, yo, hope everything work out for you, homie. I'm sure it will. You know what I mean? You got a good
Yeah,
uncle there that's gonna keep you on track. Got an ear to the street, so you should be good, my man. Yo,
no
what else you
doubt.
got going on, fam?
Man, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy right now, but it's like it's in a good way, man. It's a lot of good stuff, man. We gonna get into tonight. That Judas and the Black Messiah movie was insane. I mean, man, you know, it's
Black
raw.
hoodie up right
Gonna
now.
get
Black
go
hoodie.
yeah, it's gonna get
Yup,
to
yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying? We asked, yo, you know what I mean, for the guys, you know what I mean, the Mervin Stack show, they talking about the movie tomorrow. So, you know what I'm saying, y'all gotta check that out tomorrow. We gonna talk about the inspired soundtrack tonight. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was the soundtrack, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's the
Yeah,
inspired soundtrack, man. So we gonna
right.
get into that later on tonight, man. But that joint was dope, man. I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to definitely dive into that tonight, man. We got a lot of things we want to dive into, man.
Hmm.
So hey, let's kick it off with the NBA issues in the All-Star game associated with COVID, man. So, I mean, there's a lot going on with this NBA situation, man. It's starting to
Yeah.
get a little deep. So, what are your thoughts, man? What's your initial thoughts on that?
I'm trying to tell you, I was pissed off that KD was just held out of the
What to
game,
do,
out
Steph?
of, he was held out for 3 games, you know,
Yeah.
because of contact tracing. Now he had COVID, I think while they was in the bubble, right? So he's
Mm-hmm.
already had it. Yeah, I mean, got treated, everything like that. But this time they were like, oh well, he can play, then he can't play, and
Yeah.
that was just ridiculous the whole way.
Yeah.
For him to miss like 3 games because of that, and he missed the game in Philly. And I'm just like, like, come on, man. Teams trying to find out who they are, man. I want to play against Brooklyn when they have everybody, not just when they got a
Right.
couple people. You know what I'm saying? I'm just,
Right.
so I wasn't happy about that at all, and I just wasn't. I'm not feeling how they dealing with this. It's starting to
Yeah.
unravel. They're not really dealing with it well, and they're going to need to get a handle on it. If if this continues. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to see nobody held out because of COVID when you get to the
Right.
playoffs or anything like that.
Right. I agree, man. I think that this whole COVID situation with the NBA in the beginning last year, they were championing this because everything was in a bubble. So you could control way more than you can control
Hmm.
now. And now that they're traveling, now you got a lot of stuff going on. It's tough. It's tough for them to be able to manage it because you think about it, Mark, to your point, like you said earlier, you got teams are being impacted. You know what I mean? You got the situation going on with KD. He was very vocal on how he was treated in that
Yeah,
situation. You also got the situation with other players who has contracted with uh with COVID and they were out, contact tracing. It's just so much going on, man. It's starting to look now the NFL did better. I mean, I know we was talking between the contrast between NFL and NBA how they handle COVID. NFL was able to get through it with more players to worry about and more situations to deal through.
right.
With the NBA, with the games that are being played like every other night, it's just the exposure, man. These NBA players, especially like the James Hardens of the world and
Yeah,
strip club
absolutely.
master. What I'm saying? So it's tough for those guys, man. So it's interesting what they're doing. Let's see what happens from there, though.
Yeah, and this All-Star game, LeBron has spoken out about it.
Yeah,
Giannis from the Bucks has spoken out about it. De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings have spoken out
Mm-hmm.
about it. And they're saying, why are we even doing the All-Star game?
Mm-hmm.
Everything going
Mm-hmm.
on, you can give those guys some rest. You know what I'm saying? They can get, maybe a week off, recuperate,
Mm-hmm.
and work their way back in instead of traveling to Atlanta, possibly
Mm-hmm.
contacting COVID or whatever. And then they want to do the whole festivities. They want to do the slam dunk contest and the 3-point
Mm-hmm.
contest, everything like that. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
just honor the guys who you think are stars, right? Maybe like kind of like a satellite interview from the players that you chose, and then just have them
Mm-hmm.
speak on the experience of being honored and everything like that. They don't have to go into this whole well, it's gonna be 25% of the people allowed into the building in Atlanta, and they're gonna do the dunk contest at halftime. I mean, it's all dumb. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's dumb. It's
Yeah,
no need to do it, and the fact that they want to push this forward, I'm just like, man, it just kind of shows, really where that's going, but it's just a bad idea.
absolutely, Stacks. Absolutely. It's all about it's a money grab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all
Hmm.
know it. We know the NBA. Again, we were championing the NBA last year, saying, hey, they got it right. They're doing the right thing. Man, it's all about the money, man.
Right.
Cash rules, nothing move but the money. And that's all this is. So it's one of those things where now the players are speaking up. I think, when LeBron and those guys speak up, they're speaking from a position of we playing every other night. You know what I'm saying? Now you got
Yeah.
to add in an all-star game. And we got all this going on. I think the All-Star game is going to be in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Atlanta. Yep.
So, I mean, you got to think about all the money that's associated with the All-Star game weekend, period. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So they're trying to rebuild different parts of their fragmented economy in those areas. And so the NBA trying to do as much as they can to be able to say, you know what, let's recoup what we lost. So that's why they kicked the
Yeah.
season off so quickly. So
Hmm.
it's a money grab. It's more that's going to come in the pipeline for that. I don't think they're going to cancel it. I don't think they can afford to cancel it unless
No.
they start seeing spikes in COVID more than they can control. But I don't think they're going to cancel it, man. Not at this time. It's
Yeah.
money. It's too much money involved. You
Yeah.
know.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
my
agree.
words say Atlanta is a cesspool. It's right. Like Atlanta, they
Yo,
operate on totally different terms. Like
man,
yo,
I'm
they
telling
operate
you,
different, man.
man,
Yo,
Atlanta, everybody, like, listen, I know so many people who ran down to Atlanta, this going on and that's going on, and then
yeah,
just run to Atlanta. I mean, the flight got to be about
mm-hmm,
$10 at this point.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But
right,
everybody seems to go to Atlanta. I'm like, man, as soon as
right,
I look up and I'm looking on my social media, yeah, we out here,
yeah,
Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh
yeah.
Lord, all y'all like either
They
Atlanta
out
or
there,
Miami. That's where they going.
right?
Atlanta, Miami, or
Atlanta,
Mexico.
Miami. Right. And you notice James Harden ain't said anything. James Harden wants to be in Atlanta. He got strip clubs beware because
Man,
James Harden going to be there.
I'm,
He's going to
I'm,
be
I'm
throwing
gonna
it up in
tell
the
you.
air.
And all them
Yeah.
people running to Mexico, man, y'all need to discount that Henny White. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, everybody coming back with bottles of Henny White. You know what I mean? Shout out to my
Everybody.
man who gave me a bottle, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Everybody running to Mexico for like
Yeah.
$20. I'm like, man, that's crazy. So Henny White is
Absolutely.
like in the streets heavy right now.
It
You
is
know?
like crack. It's a new crack. Yo, it's a new crack, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's actually right. The beard is Magic City bound. Like they may not find him. Like game day, he's gonna be out there laid out in Magic City, man.
Him and Lou
Yo, and
Williams. Him and Lou Williams.
yeah, chicken wing Lou. They're gonna be out there, man. So Atlanta, beware. And to Tina's point, like you think about the way Atlanta move, it's crazy how the numbers they're not spiking in Atlanta. It's the weirdest thing, and they're moving out there like nothing is going on. So maybe the NBA knows something we don't know. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Um, yeah, Lemon Pepper Lou. That's who it
Yeah.
is.
Lemon pepper Lou.
Yo,
You got
so let's get into that KD on KG Kevin Garnett comments, man, about today's NBA versus 20 years ago, man. He made some. I get where he's coming from, but I'm trying to figure out what's the purpose of that comment he made.
yeah.
Him saying that the players 20 years ago could not compete with players of today. That's kind of strange for him to say that. So, what are your thoughts,
Yeah.
man?
I'm like,
They are
man,
stacks. I hope you keep going
I'm like,
down. Please keep
so
going down.
basically, the guys that came in when you came in couldn't compete today. I just have
Mm-hmm.
a hard time believing that. That
Yeah.
Allen Iverson couldn't keep up with today's guys. You're
You were
tripping.
embarrassed them. You were embarrassed them.
I was just like, man, I was like, I'm like, yo, KG, I'm like, were you drunk when you were saying this?
It's
Mahmoud
possible.
Abdul Rauf can't keep up with today. I'm
Facts.
like,
Facts.
that guy's like 52 years old, still running in the big three, giving buckets.
Mark,
I'm like,
he was Steph Curry before Steph Curry. He was
yeah,
Steph Curry before Steph Curry. Don't get it twisted. Abdul Rauf,
yeah,
he was hitting shots like bottom of the nets like it was
yeah.
nothing. And this was
I'm,
during the
I'm
time when the NBA wasn't even about 3 pointers. You know what I
nah,
mean? Like it is today.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, my thing is like this, right? If you have a high basketball IQ, I don't care what level we're talking about. If you have a
Right.
high basketball IQ, you will always find a way to be on the court. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
As a coach, as a coach, I'm like, man, the guys with a high basketball IQ always was in the rotation. It was never
Always.
once that they weren't in the rotation because they're
Always.
going to make the correct play, correct
Yep.
pass, know when to shoot. You, I'm just like, come on, man, don't give me this stuff. Oh yeah, well the guys are super athletic now. I'm like, yo, but they a lot of these guys don't use their athleticism to play great defense either.
They
So
don't.
what's
They
the point
don't.
in like, yo, I got a 45-inch vertical, but you still can't defend and you still
Still
can't
can't defend.
rebound.
Right.
So you have no mental toughness. I'm like,
Right.
yo, man. I'm like, it's guys who couldn't jump 2 feet off the ground. Y'all mean that would destroy you
No.
easy?
No. Easily. Easily. You think about some of the most fundamental guys out there. It's one of those things where, yo, what's up, Drake? Yeah, you're right. I think KG trying to offset a lot of things that I guess he's trying to be the other flip side to that coin. If you think about with Barkley and Shaq being very vocal about in their day how they dominated and how they would dominate
Yeah.
today's NBA. Today's NBA is played totally different. For me,
Right.
I play basketball totally different today than I did 15, almost 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like I was playing ball tonight and I realized almost every shot I took was a 3 pointer. You know what I mean? Back in the day, it was post you up, turn around jumper, mid range, go for the layup. Now I think I shoot more 3 pointers than I ever in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the game has changed. Steph Curry. I always say Steph Curry was really the only one who I know they talk about LeBron transcending the game. I think Steph Curry transcended the game way more than LeBron. Because you think about it, how many kids are doing LeBron moves? What true moves does LeBron really have? He doesn't really have a true LeBron signature move. He doesn't have
Yeah.
like the fadeaway turnaround jumper like a Kobe or a Mike.
Right.
He bully balls. He put his head down for the scheme and he drops. Steph,
Hmm.
he's doing a step back 3 pointer. You know what I mean? He's coming
Yeah.
off of screens, shooting wild 3 pointers and killing it right now. That's transcended the game because now you got big men shooting 3 pointers. You got
Yeah.
your typical center shooting threes. Hell, your boy Embiid was shooting three here and there a
Yeah.
game, averaging 3 or 4 attempts a game. Back in the
I'm,
day, that never happened.
nah. I mean, I'm gonna say like this. Listen, I don't mind if a guy shoots. It's just be able to shoot, right? And this is where I don't, the Steph Curry influence, right? I don't like it because it's like they'll get in the game and shoot threes, but they won't practice shooting threes.
Right.
So they'll go
No.
straight to the game. We pull them from 30, but yo, you can't shoot.
Right.
Like, what I mean?
Can't
Steph
shoot.
Curry, you know why Steph Curry can pull from 30 in any game he wants? Because he practices shooting threes all day long.
All day
I'm just
long.
like, that's what I'm like, if you want to be a good shooter, you got to keep shooting.
Gotta
That's
keep
how
shooting.
and I'm not, I mean, you got to practice and stuff. I'm like,
You
man,
do.
Ray Allen said he used to shoot in the dark with no lights.
That Glenn Rice, that was Glenn Rice. Glenn Rice used to shoot in the dark. I was about to say that. Glenn Rice said he would go in the gym, cut the lights off, and shoot. And like for me, I tell the kids now I'm playing ball against, I'll just shoot from the like crazy ranges. They're like, yo, you're like looking at the goal. I see the goal never moved. The goal is there. The goal been there since we started playing ball. As long as I know where the goal at and I got a good form, it's gonna go in. And that's how Glenn Rice was playing. He was playing like, yo, I turn the lights off, the goal never moved. I know where the goal is at. You know what I mean? I'm going to shoot in the direction of the goal. I'm focusing on my rhythm. I'm focusing on my shot. And to your point, I don't think today's NBA is different only because you see a lack of defense. and you see more shooting. It's more shooting power today than it was back then.
Right,
Back
right,
then,
right.
the IQ, like you mentioned earlier, IQ was higher because you had like the big fundamental. You know what I mean? You had
Mhm.
Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, the
Yeah,
most fundamentally sound big man that we never speak about as much as we should.
yeah,
Four
absolutely.
titles, dominant power forward slash center, however you want to put it, and he scored all of his points, only 2 pointers. Karl Malone,
Mhm.
number one scorer in NBA history, wasn't a 3 point marksman, but he still to this day he holds the record for right now. He holds the record, only 2 pointers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can't get it twisted. These guys are scoring in abundance, but they're also taking a lot of big threes in abundance. So it gives you a higher propensity to be able to score bigger and better than the guys of yesteryear.
And then
So
you
that's
got
my
to think
take on
about it.
that.
You got to think about it like this, right? In today's
Facts,
game,
Natty. Facts.
the offense is mostly pick and roll. So
Yeah.
if you're a great pick and roll player back then, guess what? You're going to be a great pick and roll. You're telling me John
Exactly.
Stockton couldn't play today? You're tripping.
You
John
tripping.
Stockton probably averaged 20 assists.
Easily.
Easy,
Easy.
easy. Like
With the
that
shooters,
wouldn't even be hard.
easy. No. Even Gary
Man,
Payton. You dump Gary Payton in today's league, your point guards you have out there, they're not getting anything. They're not getting anything because they don't be able to handle that kind of pressure full court. Like he picks you up full court. When the ball comes in bound, Gary Payton is playing defense on you full court. They're
man.
not getting that anymore.
And then I
Point
mean,
guards can literally get to
yeah,
the half court line and set the
and no pressure.
offense.
No pressure.
No pressure.
I'm just like,
No pressure.
I'm like, Gary Payton will be throwing them lobs from full court.
Full court.
Like, as soon as he inbound the ball, I'm gonna just throw it up. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Same
Right.
way he did Shawn Kemp. You know what I mean? He be doing that with Zion Williamson. He be the
Easily.
same thing. You know what I mean?
Easily.
Zion, you know what I mean, have 20 points off 10 dunks. You know what I mean? With a guard like
Easily.
Gary Payton.
Imagine trying to guard AI in the open court in today's league.
And you can't play any defense?
And you can't play deep. Right. And Marc, you got no help. Keep in mind, you
No
have no
help.
back help. You solo. You in the island.
Yeah.
you're cooked. You're done. It's
Yeah.
just look. I respect KG for what he's saying. Like you said, KG might be on that monkey audio again. We don't know. My
Yeah.
Wiz, every time she see KG, she think that KG be drunk. I don't know. So I think he done backslid a little bit more. KG from up in this area where I live. I live in Simpsonville. He's from
Hmm.
Malden. So
Yeah.
these guys, they be talking about him all the time. He come up here every now and then. But they said KG is known for saying some wild stuff just to get things going. But KG, respect, you're a legend. But man, please don't do that. Like don't shit on your own your era of basketball, which to me today is still the best era of basketball, hands
Yeah.
down, hands down.
I'm
You know what I
I'm I'm
mean?
I'm gonna end it with this. KG, you sound like Kendrick Perkins. That's bad when you sound like Perk. That's all I'm gonna say.
Facts,
Say
facts.
that's
Perk is the
that's bad.
worst. Real talk. Like Perk is horrible. Like my daughter can do. She's 9, by the way. She can commentate better than Perk. Perk is garbage, horrible. If somebody know Perk, tell him I said it. He garbage. But, I want to transition to a topic, man, that is near and dear to your heart. Something that you have been excited about for the past couple of days. When you find out the news,
Yeah.
you immediately hit me up. You like, yo, bull, it's about to be on again. And then I know Tina reached out to you and was like, yo, I'm happy about this coming out too. And it's the uncut, uncensored BET, man. BET Uncut is coming back.
Oh
Tina, if you out there, hop on because I know you and Marc was like really, really excited about this.
man. Yo.
Only thing Marc kept saying, Marc was like, yo, they tip drill. I was like, yo, I can't, I better remember that. So,
I'm telling you, man.
Marc and
Listen,
Tina are so excited
listen.
about BET Uncut coming back. From what I've read, I don't think it's going to be a full season. I think they're testing some things out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw it to y'all, man, because you guys were excited about
I
this. So
mean,
what y'all think about this?
I'm gonna say like this, man. BT Uncut, right? It's crazy because, like, it came on at 3 in the morning, right? That's number one. So I'm like, either you just coming in from somewhere or you just up late. You know what I mean? It's not, like anything else, right? But I'm like, man, like they would show all the videos that they would censor, right? So this is back Rap City, all of that. They would censor all this mess. But then that at night though, no, they taking the chains off, right? And this is when you would see everybody with a low budget video get their video on BET Uncut. I'm like, man, shout to the boys Tom for freaking. Because that had to be my favorite video all time. Right now, listen. This video was shot in a bar in a low budget hotel, right? A motel, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, everybody, forgot the motels where it's like, I don't know, like $30, or $20 for 3 hours. Yo, they shot it right there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean,
Yeah.
man, yo, where the walls is paper thin, you can hear everything going on in them joints, right? I'm like, they really shot this joint like at the bar that you would go to, like the bar around the corner from your house. That's where they shot the video, and they was
That's where they shot
naked.
the video.
I'm like,
No, I
Yes.
got
yo,
Mark. I got
that's
one better.
nuts.
I got one better for you. When you got them little hotel stays, and you had to click a button on the back of the TV so you could get the porn part. Y'all don't know about that?
No.
Yes,
No.
there
I'm
was a
telling you,
special
man.
button on the
Listen,
back of the television you had to hit to get the porn.
yeah,
I don't.
this is
I
true.
know nothing
This is
about
true
that.
though.
I don't
This
even
is
know.
true.
That's
I'm
the
like,
underworld.
man,
I don't understand. Like, so, yo, maybe
Don't
you and
tell
Mark can
nobody
figure
I
that
know.
out.
Don't tell nobody.
yeah, yo,
Yo,
I'm trying to tell
so
you,
that's
this
how you
is
saw BT
BT Uncut
Uncut,
is
like
wild,
in a motel, and you had to push the button just to get access to the to the uncut.
man.
Yo,
But I mean, it's crazy though, man. But Tina, you know what I'm saying? Share your thoughts. BT Uncut. You know what I'm saying? You remember what it was. Just, take us back in time real quick.
Hey Becca. Hey Steve. So BET Uncut
tip drill.
was like who remembers HBO Real Sex?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
I remember. That's like the early 2000s, right?
they'd be like HBO Real Sex Take 5, HBO Real Sex Take 6. Like it was.
Yes.
So that was
And
you was a
Mark,
kid trying
yo,
to sneak and watch HBO Real Sex. So that's how what. But now you a little bit older now. You watching BET Uncut. So like Mark said, all the
right,
videos you was watching during the day was censored, and now you get to see the raw and uncut version. And you actually know what's still out right now
right,
being played in Jersey in the clubs. Back that ass up. It's still a hot club banger. Like your grandmother if
Yeah.
she in the bar and they play that shit, she twerking, and you be like, bruh, chill,
Yeah.
nah. But
right.
man, that's where we got to really learn more about the vixens. Superhead.
Mm.
You know what I'm
That's how
saying?
they got
Like that was a
popular,
big
right,
deal, and now we get
right.
to see Superhead in action. Damn, I forgot the other chick name, light skinned shorty. She popular
Glory
too, but I forgot her
Velez.
name. It ain't coming to me. It ain't coming to me right now. But the only person that really stick to me is Superhead because she done exploited a lot of rappers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
saying?
Gloria, don't forget
But
Gloria Velez. Remember Gloria Velez? She was messing with Aaron Hall.
yeah,
I think Aaron
Yeah.
Hall, he took her from somebody. I can't
Oh
remember because he
man,
was talking
shoot,
about it.
yeah,
Who did he take her
yeah,
from? Because he was talking
oh,
about that. He was
yeah.
bragging. He
I
was
He,
like,
he,
"Yeah, I
had a, he
took."
had a recent interview too talking about something like that. But I'm trying to tell you, man, shoot, Miami days,
Yo,
man, shoot, I'm not even gonna go into all that. But you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, but BT Uncut, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Tupac, how do you want it? That's the first time I seen the video, where it was like everything was exposed. Like I'm like,
it was,
shout to the love of
yo,
Tupac for that. You know what I'm saying? That was nuts.
do you
yo,
guys
Pac
remember
was,
Temptation by Pop?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
yes, yes.
That
That was
video
on
was
Uncut.
sick. All right,
It was, that was kind of racy. Pac was, Pac was wilding out for a minute because I remember, that's why Nas was like in that joint. Oh, you freak niggas played out because Pac was he was in a tub, butt naked. I mean, with like roses and everything in the tub. Like he was wilding out on those uncut videos, man.
Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
Pac. That Temptations video though, it was crazy because it was very explicit. because I think he had porn stars in that joint too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Heather Hunter
That was
was in there. Heather Hunter was in
that was
there.
a
Yeah.
it was a right. It
Damn,
was a
what's the name?
long
And she
time
was
ago.
looking bombed in a motherfucker. Jada Pinkett.
Yeah. I was just
It's
like,
in
man, but
that red net dress thing.
I'm gonna
Disney
Yep.
say like this.
video.
Only certain boys could pull that off. You know what I'm saying? You know what Pac did, Big Daddy came before him. They can pull that off. I'm like, I can't pull nothing like that off. You know what I'm saying? I stay in my lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ain't gonna work for me.
It's just weird because I was talking to Shawn earlier and I was like, what, BT Uncut coming back? Like, with the whole Black Lives Matter and this, that, and the third, like, is that gonna kind of worry? Like, is that gonna take away from us as a people because they bringing back BT Uncut during this time? Is it gonna be like a walking contradiction, like for us, by
No,
us?
I think they're gonna combine it. I
That was
think the girl's gonna
crazy.
see Black Lives Matter while she naked. She gonna have BLM across her chest naked. Like,
Yo,
Black Lives still
real shit.
matter, but I gotta get naked too. Like,
That could still happen. I was telling Tina, like, the flip side to that coin is we're in a society now. Think about back then, even though it was uncut, raw, uncensored, there were still certain boundaries that wouldn't cross. You know what I mean? Today is different. You can watch the average
Jeez.
Tyler Perry show. I don't watch them like that, but you can watch the average Tyler Perry show, and they are very explicit. You know what I mean? They get busy in these shows. You can watch the average daytime TV and they are getting it in. You know what I mean? Like it just the times now are so different that I don't know how this new BET Uncut is going to be. It may turn into porn, like really late at night, because back then it was already raw. Now think
So it's
about
gonna be
today's
what? Skinemax?
I would say softcore porn. Softcore. They'll give you the softcore during the day. They'll give you that.
But Mark, think about back then. That stuff wasn't softcore. That stuff was that Temptations video left no imagination as a youngin. You know what I mean?
Nah, ain't
Like
gonna be no imagination.
like primetime TV. Primetime TV gets crazy. Think about Power. All right, the first 3 seasons of Power. Every episode, Ghost was getting it in.
But you had to pay for stars.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, you did have to pay for it, but then the one boy will upload all the episodes to YouTube like directly after, like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I know people, who was watching who ain't have stars though. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, man, but BET Uncut, man. Shout to him, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for the memories, man. Bunch of low budget videos,
I'm gonna be watching it like this.
DC, Maryland, Florida. Yeah.
It's like I'm out of here. Bye, guys.
Later.
Yo, when Merv hear about this, man. Yo, Jergens and some soft tissue, man, is gonna stock's gonna go through the roof. So Jergens and soft tissue gonna go through the roof, man. But it's gonna be crazy. So we'll see how that works out. So Mark, we at that point, man. We're gonna do our Fast Five, Fast Five segment. This is something a little new. We're gonna go into that real quick. So the Fast Five is something that Mark came up with. We're doing like a rapid fire of some trending topics of today that we're not gonna dive really into. We're just gonna give our take on it. So I'm gonna flip it first, man. Meek versus 6ix9ine. What are your thoughts on that?
If this ain't the most goofy shit, you know what I mean, if I've ever seen in my life, right? How do you wait for somebody coming from a restaurant in a parking lot? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And then the first thing he do is whip out his phone. He's with the feds, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, man, and he's still, I'm like, dude, you ain't made no good music since you came out. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, listen, all you put all the record people away. So
right.
I'm just like, dude, you have no career left. Just go away. You know what I'm saying? And Meek, I mean, if Meek would have reacted, he's going to get an automatic 5 years for that. Like, I'm glad he held his cool. All he did was spit on the ball, Hey man, I don't think that's a crime. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. Who cares? But I was like, that was crazy. It was nutty. I'm like, man, I can't even believe we just found him and then showed up. I'm just like, goodness, this dude really has
Man,
nothing better to do.
Meat gotta relax, man. I think to your point, 6ix9ine is not worth Meat even talking to at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Don't engage with a clown, man. You can't engage with a fool. And leave the guy, let the dude live, man. Let him go. You know what I mean? He's gonna be who he
absolutely.
is, and just let it go, man. He's in a different space. You know what I mean? He should be focusing on other things. He got some great things going on out there. He keep finding himself in these petty situations. You know what I mean? It
Absolutely.
doesn't look good. Like, yo,
No, it never
relax.
does.
Just stay away from it. Yeah,
Yeah,
stay
it
away
never
from it.
does.
Nah. So the next up is
Uh,
that ex DMX interview. DMX was on Drink Champs. Yo, Left Rack City, Iraq see the world, Nori. Y'all know what it is. Queens get the money. Nori has been having some of the best interviews over the past several months. He's killing it right now. This DMX interview to me was so entertaining. X is a character. He's working on doing a podcast as well, something like Drink Champs. I think I'm going to tune in. X is
yeah,
hilarious. What are your thoughts on that interview, man?
I'm gonna say like this: the story that he told when he said I almost got kidnapped in Angola was so wild. That was just,
Right,
I'm like, but only this only happens to X. Like it don't
right.
happen, you know what I mean, for to nobody else. X just, I'm like, man, when X tells about everything that happens in his life, right? Even if you thought you was
Yep.
a wild boy, your life is very calm when you talking DMX. Your life is extremely calm.
He's
But I mean, he
he's
went into a lot
he's
of
a
detail
passionate
about
dude.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's
but
he's
yeah,
X is
go,
crazy. I mean,
yeah,
I think he said he
absolutely.
had like what seven or 17. I can't remember. It was like a lot of kids he got from like different baby mothers, and
Right.
he was like, yeah, I just they wag the tail like a dog. You know, what I mean, I see it, I love it. Like yo, like and he really thinks he's a
Dude,
dog. Like
wow.
X is crazy, man. It was
Yeah,
very
he's not.
entertaining, man. I really enjoyed it. Really
Definitely,
entertaining.
definitely, definitely, man.
Um,
Definitely.
the other one, man, Russell Wilson, man. Russell Wilson came out with his frustrations about the Seattle Seahawks. I wonder if Sierra told him to say something because he's getting beat up and he coming home all banged up and can't really do anything. So now he's talking about his frustrations, with the Seattle Seahawks O line. Man, what you think about that?
Man, I mean, you got a top five quarterback in the league. You have an O line that's not protecting them, right? Now, this could be on the O line not being good, or this could be on the coach calling too many pass plays, right? Either way, it's bad. You know what I'm saying? And one thing offensive
Right,
linemen love to do is block, right? I mean, the run
right,
blocking, where they get the foot, knock people over, knock people on the ass. This is what they like to do. You know what I'm saying? So guess what, Seattle? Run
right,
the ball more. You know what I'm saying? Run the ball more. Give it to Russell when it's winning time. But, allowing him to get beat on like that, I blame the GM and I blame the coach. Russell Wilson, I don't blame him at
right.
all, man. Like, you're a top five quarterback. They supposed to protect you. Your coach, your
Yep.
GM, and your line. That's it.
Man, I think Russ has been feeling away ever since all the backlash of the last Super Bowl loss when they threw the
Yeah,
ball and they should
yeah,
have ran it. And you had some of the defensive players saying some slick stuff. I don't think they really, respect him in the locker room like that. I think they respect him for most part, but I don't think they really adore him in the locker room like that because a lot of those guys were speaking ill of him. You know what I mean? Because Seattle spent a lot of money to obtain Russell to keep him, which you have to. He's a franchise quarterback, one of the best in the
right.
league. But they were unable to allocate resources on the O line. Get some weapons for him
Hmm.
consistently to the point right now where he's like, yo, I want another ring. You know what I mean? These guys like Mahomes are coming up and Brady's still the GOAT. I want to get a piece of that pie again. I want to be talked about as one of the greats. And his name has been fading a little bit. In the beginning of the
Yeah,
season, he's on fire. But then you start seeing a whole different Russell in the second part of the season every year for the past 3 to 4 years. And he's been getting kicked out
yeah,
of the playoffs first round. So I think he's starting to get frustrated as well. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Absolutely.
this story is to be continued. We definitely got to see what's going to happen with that. Um,
Absolutely.
the other piece, man, we got on there is Brady, getting some flack. The GOAT getting some flack for throwing the Lombardi trophy from one boat to another. You know what I mean? You got Vince, I think Lombardi's granddaughter or his daughter,
Yeah, I
was
believe
upset
so.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna say like this: anybody who's held the title 7 times should be allowed to toss the trophy across to the boat.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You should be allowed to do that. I understand if it was a guy who won his first one. Okay, young boy, you messing up right now, right?
Yeah,
But he's won it 7 times.
yeah. What do you
I like if
want?
he wants to toss that thing, go ahead toss it.
Yeah,
He got another 6 at the crib. Like, leave it alone, man. You know
right.
what I'm
This is
saying?
this
Come
is
on, lady.
Brady.
You talking about you should apologize. Tom Brady, apologize. You
Right.
tripping.
Yeah.
You just
Good
tripping.
luck with that. Good luck with that. That's yeah. And she's mad. Like she's really mad. Like she's like, I can't
Yeah.
believe he. Like yo, he might do it again next year if they win it. Like yo, just for her, I'm gonna do it again. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, she got to
Absolutely.
get up out of here with that. Let the guy have fun, man. He's a GOAT. Let him have fun.
Right.
The
Absolutely.
last one, Fast Five, is your boy, Stacks homeboy, flopping LeBron. LeBron just got. Hey, did we get that picture? Yo, can we post that picture up? I think we got a picture out there of LeBron flopping, in that horrid Lakers uniform. I think we got one, Mark. Let me. I know I got it out there somewhere, man. In that horrible looking, ugly color, purple and gold, like uniform. I hope we don't have no fans out there, the Lakers. I don't want to offend
Yeah.
anybody. But
Man.
where is it? There it
Yeah,
is.
there it
Look at
goes.
this
There it
dude,
is.
man.
Right there.
What is he doing, man? What is that? Yo, and he's like flaring his arms like he's crazy, man. Yo,
Man.
I'm
I'm,
sorry,
I'm,
Stacks.
it's
I forgot
it's
you were a
it's
Laker
it's
fan.
it's terrible, man. But you know
It's
what though? I'm
terrible,
gonna say
man.
like this: these refs, they. I'm like, man, I wouldn't want them evaluating anything for me because I'm like, if you can't see some of this is flopping, you know what I mean, and you call it for them every time, I'm like, oh my goodness, right? Now
What are you
LeBron is just
doing?
like, look, hey, if they gonna allow it, I'ma do it, right? But
I do it.
I mean, it's so embarrassing. I seen this one dude. I swear, right? He pushed his hand up. He had to be like 5 feet away from LeBron, and LeBron just fell down. And the ref called him. I'm like, dude, he ain't even touch him, you know.
Right,
So I'm
right.
like, man, I'm surprised he got fined, right? I don't think this will ever lead to a suspension. If people think, yeah, I mean, they suspending LeBron for anything, you're wrong. He's not going to get suspended for flopping.
He's not going to get
Just
suspended.
cut that out.
No,
No,
not at
no
all.
way.
Not at all. And it's
No.
it's uncalled for, man. I know we laugh and joke about it, but man, he does it so much, man. It's starting to become like even other players looking at him like, yo, really, man? Like you
Yeah,
LeBron, like you want to be the GOAT and you doing stuff like this? Like how dare you?
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you gotta chill with
absolutely.
that, man. Yo,
Yeah,
but that is our
absolutely.
fast five. We got about two more topics we're gonna sink our teeth into. One of them, man, I know our guys are coming on tomorrow night, and they're gonna get into the movie, man. What is it? I'm sorry, I just had a
Judas and the Black
Judas and the
Messiah.
Black Messiah. We're gonna
Right.
talk about that soundtrack a little bit. If Stacks is out there, man, please, yo, hop on, man, because you can tee this thing up for your show tomorrow night. If you guys want to get into more of the movie side of the house, but Mark and I want to discuss a little bit about that soundtrack, man.
Mm-hmm.
So Stacks, if you out there, man, if you in good spirits, man, hop on with the fellas, man, so we can kind of tee up and kind of do the intro to what you guys are doing tomorrow as well. But Mark, as far as like the soundtrack, for me, I thought the soundtrack was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I had to listen to it a couple of times over the weekend to get a good feel for it. I think out the
Yeah,
gate, you get like 4 songs out the gate that was
yeah.
just crushing it. You got her, you got your boy, you got Black Thought, you got Nas, you
Mm-hmm.
got Jay and Nipsey. These are back-to-back songs out the gate.
Yeah,
Hit Boy
yeah.
produced a couple of joints on there, and you got some other artists that's trying to get on there as well. Some newer artists. I thought the overall was a good, complete soundtrack. It reminds me of back in the day when soundtracks were actually, really relevant in hip hop
Yeah.
because the movie come out like Sunset Park and Don't Be a Menace,
Hmm.
just to name a couple that
Yeah.
was like really dope soundtracks that had some
Yeah.
very good material to it. How did this
Right.
soundtrack get you, man?
Man, it was very soulful. That's number one. I think, I mean, it had a real nice groove to it, right? And it gave you
Yeah,
something from all over. It gave, like, I mean, it gave you that gritty New York. You got that, I mean, for real, that kind of Chicago vibe. You got that, in there because they had some Chi-Town artists on there. And then you had those angelic voices, with her, with the boy Safe. You know what I'm saying? For real, a
yeah,
couple other people, were real nice. BJ the Chicago Kid. So I'm just like, man, I liked it because it gave you something different all throughout the soundtrack, and Rakim closing it, what I'm saying, I thought was excellent.
right.
That's
Pleasant,
that's
pleasant.
what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? You let him close it, and he kind of gave you something gritty right at the end. And
Hmm.
the soundtrack certainly matched, what you seen in the movie. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, because you can replay the movie in your head and you listen to the soundtrack, and you're kind of like, yo, I remember that part, and you're thinking of whatever song that you're thinking of,
Yeah,
to kind of go with that. But
right.
I'm telling you, man, it was a lot of, it was stuff for everybody on this joint. I love the record by Hit Boy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah,
I know he produced a couple, but he had this one record, I mean, Broad Day. I thought that was really nice. I really like that record. Nas
yeah,
gave you that EPMD, and that was vintage Nas, vintage.
absolutely,
You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Jay Z with Nipsey gave you the theme music. That I like Jay at his best.
Fact,
I think he's at his best when he gives you theme music. You know what I mean? When he tries to
right.
give you something else, it's kind of like it might be hit or miss with me. But when he goes in his theme music bag, I think he does
He's
something good. And
he does.
shout out to Lil Durk and Polo G. Lil Durk with On Your
Yes.
Mind, Polo G with
Yeah,
Last Man Standing, which I love.
yeah,
That I love those the two different sounds, both Chicago. But I'm just like, man, I was thoroughly impressed with the soundtrack, and I'm like, man, just to your point when you said earlier, we don't really get a lot of them like we did. So when
right.
you get a soundtrack, that sounds this good, I'm like, man, it kind of takes you back, what I mean, to
It
those
does.
other soundtracks that were really good before.
It does. I'm gonna give you credit, man, because you was telling me about Dirt last year, and I was
Yeah,
like, man, Dirt, who is Dirt? And I'm like, the more I listen to Dirt now, I'm like, yo, this kid is actually pretty dope. Like, he got his
yeah,
own thing. You know what I mean? He's
hmm,
blazing on features. And Dirk
yeah,
has really come through in the clutch in a lot of good songs, man.
yeah,
This album, this soundtrack reminds me a little bit of it has that American Gangster soundtrack.
yeah,
Jay when Jay
yeah,
did American Gangster,
yeah,
it
absolutely.
kind of has that feel to me because there are elements of American Gangster sound, the album that Jay put together that
Hmm.
parallels with the actual movie. With
Right.
this soundtrack, there were so many elements in the movie that just had a certain tone to it that I think it
Hmm.
fit in the messages in each song fit the narrative of the movie, which is very
Right.
difficult to do when you have
Yeah.
multiple artists,
Hmm.
trying to create a actual album that speaks to
Hmm.
the music. I had to watch the movie and then listen to the soundtrack, and then I'm sorry to listen to the soundtrack, watch the movie, and then listen
Hmm.
to the soundtrack again so I can piece it
Right.
together and it made
Yeah.
sense. I'm like, okay, I see what Black Thought was doing with this song. I
Hmm.
see what Rakim was doing with this song. It
Right.
made sense. I see what Her was doing with the song. Um,
Yeah.
and I see why Jay made some references on his verse,
Right.
with the song as well. And you can
Yeah.
tell Nipsey verse probably was an older verse that they may had in the
Yeah.
vault. Jay was
Right.
more current based on the
Hmm.
flow of the movie. And I see why certain things that were saying in the lyrics, how it actually went up with, tighten up with the actual movie itself. The movie was
Yeah.
kind of There he is, Stacks. What it do, homie?
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
good.
and before we get to Stacks, one thing I want to say is when I listen to this soundtrack, I mean, just to me, it seemed like everybody was on this soundtrack, they watched this movie. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Because you could feel it from the music that that's how they wrote it. You know what I'm saying? You know, like they probably sat down, kind of watched some things, you hearing some lyrics and stuff. So that's why I liked it the most because I think a lot of the artists, really watched it and kind of, all right, this is how I'm gonna put my verse down after watching
right,
this. And I was impressed by that.
right. So you had a chance to listen to the sound. I know you saw the movie, but have you saw heard the soundtrack yet?
I have not. I plan on listening to it sometime tomorrow. I watched the movie 4 times today,
Mm,
Damn.
and
okay.
I'm not going to stay with y'all long. I just want to, like you said, tee it up for tomorrow. We are tomorrow's episode is not going to be for the faint of heart. I got like I told y'all today in the chat. I have a whole lot to say about this movie. It's important. I have your kids watch it, people. I have your. I know this is raw, but this is really how it was. I would suggest you have your kids watch this movie. This is the
Absolutely.
best movie I have seen in years, and we are going to talk about me, the Mervin Stack Show featuring Marc and Tina B. We going in tomorrow. We are going all the way in, and bruh, it's I cannot stress how great this movie was and how uncomfortable some of the conversations are going to be tomorrow. But in this day and age, we got to have those uncomfortable conversations. And
Yeah, I
I
Mhm.
can't
I agree.
I cannot wait to listen to the soundtrack. And that's all I really came to say, fellas. I mean, it's bruh, I might watch it again after I get off it because I want to
Yep.
study it. I want to make sure I don't miss nothing.
Hmm.
You got to study that movie, man. And I definitely want to join you guys tomorrow just to speak some things I was thinking about
Please
over the
do.
past couple of days because it makes you think about a lot of things in different spaces. Especially with us, you know what I mean? Some of the things that we do to each other without even knowing it, and being selfish. You know what I mean? Having a hidden agenda. And I think the true enemy of that movie. I don't want to steal no thunder, get into it because I want to parallel to it to the soundtrack as well. It was mentioned like the soundtrack. The true enemy in that movie to me was us. We're our own enemy, our people, our own enemy. We're the only ones that can honestly take us under. You know what I
Yep.
mean? If we allow to be, be penetrated. And I think when you talk about, we talk about ourselves being impenetrable, not allowing certain elements to throw us off. That movie shows you how weak minds can collapse anything, can collapse any strong foundation if you have a weak person inside that clique. And that was the
Absolutely.
biggest, to me, that was a honest, hurtful takeaway for me because it's like history repeats itself. You see it all the time. But I can't wait for tomorrow night, man. Tomorrow night's gonna be heavy. It's gonna be really heavy. I think it's worthy of being heavy, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow's conversation as well.
Yeah, no doubt,
Absolutely,
no doubt,
No
no
doubt. And
doubt.
indeed.
gentlemen, great show as usual. I'm out, y'all.
All right.
Peace, homie. Yes, sir.
Peace.
But yeah, Marc, the soundtrack to me, man, dope soundtrack. Out of 4 stars, I'll give it maybe three. I give it 3 stars. I think you come out the gate with Thought, Nas, Her, Jay, Nipsey. You know what I mean? You set a strong
Yeah,
tone. You know what I mean? You set a
yeah,
strong tone. So, and I think in the middle of the album, it kind of got a little bit, because you set the tone, you set the bar so high. These songs are like back to back, back to back. Um, and then
yeah.
after that, it
I'm
kind
like,
of tapered
man,
out a little bit.
I think, yeah, I mean, for like in the middle, it got a little more soulful, right? Some of the newer
Yeah,
artists, you know what I'm saying? You kind of, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I got to listen to it again to get into them or whatever. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And then, they close with Rock M at the end, you know what I mean? Which I love. Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was a really, really good soundtrack. I'm like, like I said, and probably I'm high on it because I haven't heard as good a soundtrack, in years because it's just like not really done like
Right.
that anymore. So I
Right.
think, yeah, I mean, I'm just happy about that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, so that probably tends me to overrate it a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So out of 4 stars, I'll probably be going 3.5. You know what I mean? Just from that aspect. But I just thought it was good. And I think it's a soundtrack, everybody should listen to, because I think, whatever you're into, I think it's something for everybody in that soundtrack.
Absolutely. My last piece I want to say on that: Hit Boy and Nas are a perfect blend. Never thought that I would see it that way or think about it that way, because Hit Boy is totally different era, different, generation of talent. And when they put stuff together, they have been 100% on point. So want to hear more from that. Um,
Yeah,
the last
great
topic of
chemistry.
the night, man, we want to dive into Hip Hop Uncovered. Hip Hop Uncovered, man, was something that
Mm,
you and I were talking about for several weeks leading up to it before it even came
yes,
out. And I'm just happy that we had a chance to watch the first 2 episodes
yes.
last Friday. Really good
Hmm.
show, man. Matter of fact, a lot of things that you and I talked about in the past about, you
Yeah,
got to have that. You got to make some passes before you get inside, just any city. You can't just go to any
absolutely.
city without checking in. And
Absolutely.
you heard it from the horse's mouth, several of them last
Mm,
Friday. What stood
yeah.
out to you in that show, man?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, right? Just kind of hearing everyone's backstory, I was very impressed with. But the thing, that I think that stood out to me was when they was talking to Dev Atlas, right? And like, here's the thing, like, like I vaguely heard the name, right? You know what I'm saying? But then I heard some of the story, and then because it's the first time I'm hearing her speak, about
Mm-hmm.
kind of like who she is, and how she plays her part or whatever, right? But I remember hearing a story where, like, listen, where Gucci Mane, it was a couple tense moments between them, because she is the mother of Waka Flocka and also the manager,
Right.
and I'm just like, Gucci ain't no punk. Like, this is like a real guy. And I'm like, man, young boy, fall in line. And
Right.
just by the
Right.
stories, like, you fell in line. Like, she was not to be played with. You know what I'm saying? And kind of, just it's crazy because you watch it, but you're piecing the other stories together that you heard. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up.
Like,
Straight OG.
beforehand.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
I thought that impressed me. And I can't wait for them to dive more into the story. I want to hear more of Trick's backstory.
Yeah.
Big U, you know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yeah.
Big U, it's crazy, you know what I mean? Because I know a couple people that actually know him. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yo, when they tell me, they like, yo, listen, Big U, he was locked up like for most of the death row run, but they was just like, if he was out, death row would have had some issues, that they would have had
Yeah.
to get cleared. Like, that's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy
Right.
to me. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I think
I
I
think
enjoyed it from that aspect.
I think for me, it made you respect Deb as an OG more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because if you watch Love and Hip Hop or any of those shows like that, I think it watered down who Deb really is. You know what I mean? I don't know if they did it just for the show. Um,
Hmm.
it was one of those things where if you're not careful with Deb, she's just a gangster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love and Hip Hop does no justice to who she really is, because you had people in the street, screaming her out like, "Yo, she's solidified her own." I didn't
Yeah.
realize her brother was old boy. I didn't know that was
Well, Benny.
Benny,
Yeah.
Bibby. I didn't know that was her brother, because
Yeah.
I heard about him before. How
Hmm.
the things that he used, because he was running back with Run DMC back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, he was on stage
Yeah.
with them and everything. Um,
Yeah.
and Bibby was like really heavy in the streets. So
Yeah.
I never knew that. I mean, look at this stuff full circle. Like, man, Waka Flocka come from like some gangsters over there. His mom and
Yeah.
his uncle was really
Yeah.
heavy in that. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
you heard stories about these guys, and those stories were solidified. I think the whole
Yeah.
thing of Big U. I heard about Big U when I was on the West Coast, when I was in San Diego. Guys always. I mean, I knew some guys who was from that area, and they're like, "Yo." they got to check in. You know what I mean? They got to check in with you. You know what I mean? Like you just
Yeah.
don't come like any artist. You just don't come over here and think that you're gonna do anything you want to do without checking in because
Yeah.
you will get checked. You know what I mean? So I wasn't surprised by that. I was surprised by Haitian Jack's story just a little bit because we
Mhm.
heard the stories of Haitian Jack in several
Yeah.
different aspects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the whole
Absolutely.
Tupac thing. Tupac had no love for Haitian Jack whatsoever because I think he was the one that blamed Haitian Jack for the robbery, right? In the beginning. I think when he
Mhm.
first got robbed, I think Haitian Jack name was mentioned a few times before.
Yeah.
So
And the
we heard
shooting.
about Haitian
And the
Jack.
shooting too. Yep.
Right, his legend was like already out there for a long time.
Mhm.
So for him to talk about some of these things openly is kind of surprising because
Yeah.
he's attached to a lot of weird stuff that was out there. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
to the point where there were rumors they were saying Big was telling Pop not to hang around with Haitian Jack like that. And just
Yeah.
to hear his story, you're like, yo,
Mhm.
it makes sense now. It makes sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think no one's checking in with Haitian Jack, when it comes to New Yiddy, like they do for Big U or for Trick Trick in Detroit. I just think
Yeah.
they respect his territory. Like, yo, just don't get close to homie because he will get you if you cross him the wrong
Yeah.
way. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So that's the
You know what
biggest
I'm
thing
saying?
for me.
I would say, the crazy thing is that these type of figures are in every city. Like, and if you think about when hip hop started and they started doing shows and tours, particularly the tours and everything like that, you had to have a street certified guy to make sure that the artists can move around and kind of be who they are.
The voodoo.
So, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So before New Orleans was on, it's still guys you had to check in with in New Orleans if you wanted to do a show in New
Absolutely.
Orleans. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, if
Absolutely.
you're like going to some part of Texas, you still had to check in. If you were coming to Philly, it's guys you still have to check in with. And the check in
Right.
isn't what many people think it is. It's not like, these guys are showing up like, look, man, we taking everything you got and all that. Nah, it's not. It's more friendly than anything. It's just more
Right.
like you in my
It's
city.
respect.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yo, I just want to make sure that you're good out here, right? So when you see
Right.
like a artist, they do a show and then they do the after party or whatever, like at the
Yeah.
strip club or whatever club it is. You know what I mean? Usually the street guy is the guy who sets that up. You know what I'm saying? And they get a bag out
Right.
of it. You know what I mean? Yo, man, just stop in here for a half hour, you know what I mean, or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Say hello
Right.
to the fans and all of that. They get a bag and then they leave. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the
Right.
check-in thing kind of works more of, you know what I mean, your peoples talk to the peoples in the city and then they make sure everything
Right.
is cool, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. I remember
Right.
when Allen Iverson first got to Philly and he had, you know what I mean, somebody had took the chain or whatever. He made a call, you know what I mean, for one of the OGs in Newport News. The OGs in Newport News made a call to the OGs in Philly, and magically that chain, you know what I mean, came back the next day.
It came back.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
I'm just like, I'm like, but this is how it's set up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when you heard it, you hear the stories when a guy might be out of line or something like that. That's when the shit happens. But usually that
Right.
story doesn't happen because most people know not to get out of line.
Right. And that's like Trick was saying about Rick Ross. He was saying like, they shut down Ross. I remember that happened
Yeah.
when they shut down the
Hmm.
concert. Like, yo, you're not doing
Yeah.
a concert here because you didn't check in. And no
Yeah.
concert was done. They did not do a concert.
No.
And Ross was affiliated and still affiliated with BMF. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you gotta think about the level of that. You know what I mean? You gotta think about just the order of things in which you go to someone's city, you gotta respect that city. You gotta respect their clout in that city. And
Yeah.
that's for all these rappers. And I think for me, the other takeaway was just how the game. I like the way the documentary kind of went into like the crack era. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
How it created a whole generation. You know what I mean of hip
Yeah.
hop, if you will, because you think about the message. I remember when the message came out. Broken glass everywhere. Like I remember that
Yeah.
that shit was so vivid of what was
Right.
going on in the city. and you look at the
Mm-hmm.
buildings that were crushed, you know what I mean, looking like a bomb hit, you know, the city, and they're talking
Yeah.
about all of this in the rap. You know what I mean? It wasn't no
Yeah.
flashy stuff like, you know, when it first came out with the hippity hop, you know, it wasn't that. It was like, yo, broken glasses everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got people doing crack right over there. You know what I'm saying? So I think because the crack era was so heavy, and you know, we hear the stories about the Reaganomics, we hear the stories about all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff that went down and that happened. It created a generation, a whole movement of poetry that we call rap.
Yeah.
And this show kind of showed that. It showed a lot of that, where through those struggles and through those hustling, you know, it created some beautiful minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deb came from the gutter. When she said she got shot, you know,
Yeah.
almost died, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just, like, man, she came from, like, she was in a war zone and didn't even know
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the show, man. I'm looking forward to the next couple of episodes. I think it's
Yeah.
going to get better as, you know, it was the first episode was really good. I think it's going to continue to get better as we go down this
Absolutely.
road to see who else going to kind of jump into that fold. I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely looking forward to. I'm definitely tuning in this week as well.
I'm gonna tell you the one thing, the one thing that I like is when all those guys were in the Dominican Republic with Haitian Jack,
Yeah,
Big U, and Bemmy,
yeah,
and they were kind of sharing stories. But like it's like they were sharing the early stories where they didn't know each other, but they were in the same, like the fight at the concert.
right,
You know what I mean? With Big U in the
right,
'60s rolled up, and Bemmy's like, "Yo, I didn't know what was going on." Like me and Jam Master Jay or whatever, and then he's kind of detailing that story, and then Bemmy's
right,
kind of detailing the same story from the other side of what we were
right,
seeing. You know what I mean, or whatever. And, I mean, all these guys have relationships with each other. You know what I mean?
right,
But I thought that was kind of cool just to see, like yo, like, and they're just talking about like, yo, when I came to New York, you know what I mean, for Big U's talking to Haitian Jack, like, yeah, you made sure I was good out there and everything like
right,
that. And then I returned the favor
right.
when you went LA. So
Yep,
when these
yep,
guys are able to move around in like multiple cities, multiple states, it's because I mean they do have those relationships with each other to be able, what I'm
right,
saying, to go ahead and move the way that they move. But I just thought that
right,
was cool because it seemed like, all of them are kind of at a place where it's like, yo, it's a little bit more relaxed and not as tense. You know what I'm saying? And they're
yep,
able to kind of like put their guard down and share those kind of stories that, what I mean, would have never been shared before. You know what I'm
never,
saying? So I kind
never.
of enjoyed that interaction.
Right, and you know, statute of limitations are over now, so they can really get into some of the things that they probably
Yeah,
couldn't got into
absolutely.
back
Absolutely.
then. I mean, even for
Right.
Big U to talk about that infamous concert, you know what I mean, how they just came in there and just start bodying. I think Stack said on the show a while back that he was afraid to go to, to the West Coast because of some of the things he saw on Boys in the Hood. Like, yo, just
Yeah.
imagine you being in a concert and you got Rolling 60s coming in there knocking people out, man, and shooting and acting a fool. Yo, that gotta be, yo,
That's
fam.
nuts.
I keep it. Yo, I'm with Stacks on that. Back in the day, I feared the West Coast, even to the point when I was in the military. When I had orders to go to California, I was like, no, yo,
Man,
no, I don't want
I'm
to
telling
go
you,
over there.
you
But you
know,
know,
I
yeah, I
yeah,
wish I did. But but
I
it
mean,
was. You see, I mean,
yeah,
they got a
it
different
was
lifestyle
wild.
out there, man.
I'm gonna tell you, and I asked my brother this. I'm like, you ever met Big U? You know what I mean? He was like, nah, he was locked up when I was out there, but he's like, I heard the name. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's like, cause my brother, you know what I mean, for just used to, do his thing or whatever. And he was just like, just watching
Right.
that documentary and just seeing, he was like, I was in those neighborhoods. He's like, man, he's
Yeah.
like, and LA is crazy because stuff looks kind of nice and you don't even know you're in the slum.
You don't even.
Like when
Oh,
you're
you
in
don't even
Philly or
know
New
it.
York, when you're in Philly and New York, you know when you're in not so good territory. In LA,
Right.
you might not
You
even
don't
know it.
know.
Like, you know what I'm
You don't
saying?
even know it.
Yeah,
Right. You don't even know it. When I was out there, I had people was like, "Yo, you do not come across this line. Like, you definitely." Yo, I was
yeah,
wearing Padre. I had like a Padres jacket and a hat. They were like, "That's the
mm,
clearest thing that you can wear." Like, because you are not representing anything but that at this point. You know what I
right.
mean? So you got to be you got to move with caution out there because
Yeah,
again,
um,
they really live that lifestyle.
Yeah,
And if you're
I'm
not
telling you,
careful,
man. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. I got
yeah,
G checked before. I got G checked in
yeah,
Tower Records by some Crips. Like I had on
yeah,
a Red Iverson jersey. Right, this is like my first time out in LA, and I have a Red Iverson
yeah,
jersey on, and the boy just rolled up. Yo, do you bang, homie? Like straight like that. I'm like, nah, man. I'm from Philly, man.
yeah,
Iverson played for the team. He just, yeah, you might want to take that off. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And they was
You,
cool about
yeah,
it,
you
but
got
I took it off, folded it up. you know, I like I'm
it's it.
good, and then
Yeah,
I seen those guys at Roscoe's later, and they like paid for my meal or whatever, right? And everything was like
yeah,
cool, whatever. But it was serious though. You know what I'm saying? That was very because it was
yeah,
like, man, like I was surrounded quick, like, damn,
yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
it was serious like
Fam,
that. That color banging shit ain't rock.
Mark, the whole time I was there, I wore no red, I wore no blue. I was
Yeah,
Timberland out. I wore Tims. I had my jeans, and I had button up. This is like in 2004, 2003, 2004.
yeah,
Button ups like really
hmm,
heavy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Wearing a button up Tims and some jeans. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Anytime we went out, I made sure I had straight neutral colors on. It was
yeah,
by design. Like it was like,
yeah,
yo, I'm just wearing polo. You know what I mean? No red, no blue, nothing funny. I just kept it just
man.
like that. I didn't want to be
They the-
approached. I didn't know what was going to pop off. I had to be very,
they should.
very
Hey
careful.
Sean, hey Sean, was you like? Wait a minute, the horse is blue. Hold on, wait a
Right.
minute. I got
Yo,
to switch that.
yeah. I'm like, yo, look at the Tims. Y'all don't wear Tims in LA. Yeah, so I'm not with that lifestyle out here. Y'all wear Chucks. You know what I mean? I wear straight
Right,
Tims. That's all I had
right.
was Tims. That was
Absolutely,
I wore Tims with
absolutely.
everything. So
Yeah, no doubt,
yeah,
man.
man. Good show tonight, man. Good show tonight. We dive
Oh,
into a lot
absolutely.
of stuff, man. Um, Shout out to Stacks. Shout out, to Tina for hopping on. I know she can't wait to BET Uncut come out. I mean, she's like really salivating at the mouth for this BET Uncut that really hit the
Yeah.
scene, man. So, she
Hey,
cannot wait, man.
I'm gonna
When
tell you,
Murph
I want to
coming
hear,
out,
I want to hear more motel stories from Tina. You know what I mean? Low budget hotels. I
yo,
want to hear more.
she like the motel doors where you like the doors are outside, like you can't walk
It
in.
like the motels where they have the wedding on one side and you know what I mean
Right,
for the after party on the other side. You know what I mean? It's all
right.
crazy. You know what I'm saying?
And
In the same place.
somewhere in Trenton, New Jersey. Oh boy. Hey Tina, we were just singing your praises.
Iddletown. My bad. Iddletown,
So
Newark. Yeah, I
somewhere
don't
in
know.
Trenton.
You know what I'm saying?
First of all, I'm
Yo,
about to get bougie real quick.
Motel 6.
Bougie real quick. Yes, I know about the shit, but I was like, first
The,
and
the,
last time. What kind of especially in Jersey, what kind of shit you got me in? I'm
the
going
red
home.
the Red Rooster Inn.
Okay, peace. What kind of hole in the wall? Yo, anything that say Mo, I'm not fucking with it, bro. I'm not fucking with
Right.
that shit, yo. You
Yo,
gotta say hotel. If it's a hotel, get the
Yeah.
fuck out my face,
Like
bro.
ho, not mo.
Yeah, and you
right,
know what? At my age, hotel what? It better be because we out of the country on vacation.
right,
Like
right.
Hear
hotel
that?
where? You
Yo,
better have
Tina
your own
was
place. Okay, bye. I'm out.
yo, yo, Martin. Tina was at the joint. Remember that episode of Martin when him and Gina was at that hotel in the island,
Oh yeah.
Gilligan's Island. Yo,
Killer
Tina was
Dollar.
at the Gilligan's Island hotel, man. Like, yo, Martin was like, yo,
Yo.
that's not a puppy. Like that's a rat.
Right,
Yo, she was in
right,
Gilligan's
right.
Island, man.
No doubt,
Yo,
no doubt.
but shout out to Tina, shout out to Murph. I know when Murph find out BET Uncut, he find out that's going to live, man. Again, buy stocks in Jergen, if you will, because it's going to go through the roof when Murph find out BET Uncut is back. Shout out to Zingo TV, Blackjack Channel 199. Shout out to My High Radio. Shout out to Facebook Live, YouTube as well. Our Instagram partners, Twitter, everyone who's been rocking with us tonight and really for the past several months. Thank you all for tuning in. We got a lot of shows really on the horizon. We got a lot of things working behind the scenes. We got some new stuff we're going to start bringing out. You guys seen the promotions out there for Instagram and Facebook. So, yo, we out here. We out here. Tomorrow night show is going to be another great topic, very heavy discussion on the, the Black Jesus. I'm sorry, I said Black Jesus. I'm Judas and the Black Messiah. Yo, we're going to be talking about that tomorrow night. Wednesday night, we got some other topics we're going to get into, very heavy stuff, some light stuff. We're going to laugh, we're going to joke, we're going to do it all. So thank you all for coming out. Yo, Mark, what you want to say, man?
Man, shoot, let me get a get I think for us here, on the vibes, we want to get a quick rest in peace to Vincent Jackson.
Indeed.
Wide receiver, played for the Chargers and the Bucks. Great player, what I'm saying. As far as I'm looking through my Twitter, a lot of people said he was a great guy. I had him on my fantasy team, for real, for at least 3 years, and he was killing for me, in fantasy. But RIP, man, and what I'm saying, for real, for I know it's probably a spot in heaven for him, I'm saying. So, for everybody who's sharing those good things about him, continue to share them, because we like reading them, and what I'm saying, so for real, salute to the homie.
Indeed, indeed. So again, man, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate the love. The vibes. Hey, see you tomorrow. Peace.
No doubt.